Hey everyone, a couple of people already got talking to Derek on the stream chat. I'm running a little bit late. So let me get you guys zoomed in on this real quick. Let me, sorry guys, this camera's not working focused. Give me just a second. There we go. All right, sorry. No picture. So this is an aluminum wheel. I believe this is off a Dodge tow truck. Let me turn off my AC unit real quick. Hello. Is that better, guys? All right. Anyway, tell me if the audio still sucks, and I'll try to rearrange it. Let me give me a second. I can switch to another mic. Maybe this one got messed up. One second. Yeah, I'm switching mics. See if maybe this other one got messed up. Hello. There's always got to be something, right? Is that any better? Hello, Brian. Railroad Landing, everybody. Richard, good to see you. Is that audio any better, guys? Not? How about now? I think I had the decibel level turned down on the mic. On the receiver. Still not better. All right, give me a second. I know, everything goes smooth 1 week, I take a week off, and then we come back and it's shit. We swapped our mics around while we were filming last weekend, so maybe the settings got a little bit off. Is it still bad? It's still bad. Unfortunately, there's a delay on the live stream chat, so I think you guys are like 30 or 40 seconds behind the actual screen. Better? Sweet. It's plugged in, it's on. All right.
one mic off. That's got to be nothing. There's got to be no mic there. Hello? Hello? That's better? I can't. It's probably picking up this camera down here now. God, we're going to waste 10 minutes just trying to figure out the stupid audio on this thing. Yeah, it's probably picking it up from this camera now instead of the far camera. All right, well, we'll just use the audio off this camera, I guess. Anyway, all right, so we got a Dodge truck wheel here. It's off a tow truck from a buddy of mine. Consider the check in the mail. Oh, I cannot read. I'm going to have to translate that. Is that Mario? Anyway, so cracked wheel on a Dodge on a Dodge tow truck for a buddy of mine. You can see here I've already drilled it out. It was a very minor crack, but it was leaking. So I went ahead and drilled it out, gouged it on the inside. You can see there I gouged it on, technically this would be the inside of the wheel, I guess. So already gouged it out on both sides. So we'll, basically I just drilled this out to terminate the crack and then used a cutoff wheel, cut all the way through the wheel to give me a nice big gap to sink filler rod in there. So I'm going to be using kind of my standard now, the 3/32 55 54. Let me get my hood on. We're a little bit behind. I got too busy talking. I got my cameras all wrapped up. There we go. Need to clean the inside of my hood real quick. Sorry, guys. But we'll go over machine settings real quick. I'm running my 325 EXT, running advanced square wave. I've got it set to 300 amps, 91 hertz, 301 amps, 91 hertz, and still 35% balance. Make sure my gas flow is right. Man, I just got all sorts of behind. Total mess tonight. All right. All right, so now we're set up. I got this clean. I've already wiped it down with acetone. It's gouged out. Like I said, 301 amps, running 91 hertz, 35% balance, number 7 gasolines, 25 CFH, 1/8" 2% lanthanated tungsten. Let's get going. So I'm going to run this first pass super, super hot. Because what I'm going to do, let me zoom back in. So what I'm going to do is run this first pass super hot right through the middle of my crack. And then I'll make another pass inboard and outboard. So I'll do a 3-pass cover. I'll flip the wheel over and we'll weld it from the other side. Kind of the same thing. I'll run another weld right down the middle of my crack and then go inboard and outboard. So let's see if we can have the art cam work tonight, since everything else seems to be messing up. All right, let's zoom back in real quick. I had to move the camera out of the way. There we go. So nice hot run. This wheel is anodized. That's where we get some of our black soot from. Camera too low. Okay, I'll look up a little bit this next pass. Let's get back to... all right, we're going to make another pass. Inboard of our first. We do another hot pass. Overlapping about 50%. All right, so we just made our second pass. Now, once I get this welded up, I won't do it right now, obviously, just for time constraints, but I will go back through and grind this down a little bit, just so it doesn't cause any balance issues when they go to mount the tire back on. So again, we ran this second pass, overlapping our first one about 50%. So I'm going to go the same on this third pass. And we should be done on the inside here. Yeah, Derek, I would say that. I mean, I've never had any problems welding rims. Then again, welding wheels. Then again, I'm pretty confident. Actually, I do in Kansas City here. Weld Wheels. Weld Racing is a local company, and I actually get some wheel repair from them from time to time. I've never had a wheel fail, and that's mainly sprint cars. Brian Brown, to be exact, if you guys follow sprint car racing at all, I do his wheel repair. So I haven't had one fail before. That's not to say that I couldn't be unlucky and have one fail at some point, but so far I've been 100%. Now, something interesting did happen as we welded that up. My crack that I thought was terminated opened back up. So let's see if I can get this. This camera's, of course, not wanting to focus real well tonight. So you can see there at the top, that crack opened up, and it actually opened up down at the bottom a little bit too. So I'm actually going to have to go back and groove this out, re-drill it, clean up this sticker area up here, and then hit it again. So we actually have, this is perfect. So normally, if you're trying to show people how to do this, this is something you don't want to happen. But as far as crack repair goes, this is actually a good example of what happens sometimes. So I had put heat to this. I had seen the crack open up. I terminated it. I thought I had terminated it and cleaned it up, drilled it out, gouged it out, and the crack opened up again. It opened up a little bit further. It actually opened up quite a bit. So now I guess we'll show you guys how to work this crack. So let me reset for a second. I'll get my grinder hooked back up, and we'll hit this. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to have to do this, so take me just a second to get set up. Safety glasses. I guess this would be a good time too, guys. I do not have a guard on this grinder. I definitely do not recommend using a cutoff wheel without a grinder. I mean, without a guard on the grinder. But it's one of those do as I say, not as I do moments. I work in a lot of tight spaces where I'm trying to get down into a crack. And sometimes you can't run a guard. So those of you that are extremely safety conscious, try not to go too hard on me, okay? Again, I do not recommend using a cutoff wheel without a guard. And you'll have to excuse me, guys. I'm on the other side of my table, so I cannot see the stream. Let me go back over there real quick. Yeah, you will have that on these bigger jobs. Sam, I don't get to Knoxville as much as I'd like to, but if you go to Knoxville, then Brian Brown should be a very, very familiar name to you. So if you see him, tell him I said, hey. All right, I'm actually going to take a step back. I'm going to take this cutoff wheel off first. Clean this crack up a little bit. See if we can get a better termination point. All right. Now I'm going to hit it from the inside. We are going to have to go a little bit further on the inside, and this wheel is, I believe, anodized, so we're getting some crud. Grind this out just a little bit more. right, super interesting shot right there. I know. Let's go ahead. I'm actually going to hit this with some heat again. Because that crack kind of disappeared on me as I was grinding. Oh. All right. Oh, already got my gloves on. Got my dirty gloves. All right, let's hit it again real quick. Get that crack to open back up. I'm just going to run a hot weld right down the center again. So just hot pass right down the center just to get that crack to open up. Yeah, Sam, if I get up there this year, I'll give you a holler and see if... Perfect. All right, so crack open back up. Let me chalk this wheel up real fast. Oh, where is it? So you can see that... See that hairline crack right there? So it actually split. So we're going to drill that out twice. There's actually a little spot right here as well. So let me get my drill. I'm going to drill those back out. Little trick I like to do sometimes is take a hammer and give them a little tap. You can see them come back. All right. So right there. Oh, the joys of live stream. All right. Check this out from the inside. Looks good. So we'll go back out there. We'll throw the cutoff wheel back on, gouge that out, clean it up. We'll hit it again. And just because this is on a wheel, guys, doesn't really make it any different than if you're doing, I mean, in this case, it's a little bit different being it is a motor vehicle on the highway. But if you've got, a crack in cast aluminum or, billet, like you got a bracket or something that's cracked or a radiator bracket that's cracked, any aluminum that's cracked, this is how you do it. Terminate your crack, find the end of it, try to get it to crack back out. Make sure you're at the end of the crack, drill it out, give it a nice gouge, give yourself a groove to get a nice hot weld in there. And then sometimes, like on cast, you'll have to weld it up, grind it back down because it'll be filled with, a lot of porosity. It'll be really nasty. So sometimes you will have to do 2 or 3 passes to get a real nice clean weld. Just getting all the junk burned out of it. But yeah, if you're not super confident or super experienced, I wouldn't recommend doing a wheel. The liability is quite high, but the lesson of crack repair still holds true. So let's throw that cutoff wheel back on. I'll gouge that out. We'll get back to it. So again, just for the super safe, grinder without a guard, don't do it. Do as I say, not as I do. Let's see if I can. All right, let's zoom in. All right, guys. Now we're zoomed in. Let's see where we drill our holes to terminate that crack. So I'm going to run my cutoff wheel right through the center of that crack. And then outside of this groove here, I'm going to get down all the way through the wheel. I'll go back on the other side, groove it back out, do the same thing. Get all the way through the wheel. All right. All right, so we've got our crack groove back out. Let me switch sides, fix this camera. Hold on a second. All right. Oh. All right, so we got everything grooved back out, drilled out. We are ready to clean it back up. Wipe it down with some acetone real quick. And hit this thing again, hopefully for the final time. So we'll run through this real quick. This shouldn't take but a couple minutes. Give this a good wipe down. I've got a little bit of news for you guys for next week. I got some. I ran out of my good white rags, so I'm back to using my blue ones. I've got a little lint stuck in here. All right. All right, wipe it down on the inside. Another couple little lint balls to get out real quick.
Hello, guys. Hello? Microphone any better?
Nothing? Thought I fixed the microphone issue. I guess not. All right. Let's run another hot pass in here. What's up, Nick? Having a couple little issues tonight, buddy, so that's me. All right. All right. Let me. You see, we're getting pretty decent penetration due to this back side. That's why we groove it out real big. Yeah, nice hot weld. You'll get penetration coming through the back side. Makes it really easy to tie together. Like I said, this repair isn't specific to doing wheels. This would be how you would do pretty much any crack repair on aluminum. Well, if we can hurry up and get this done, if you guys didn't read the title, I've got a diesel tank back behind me. I don't know how many gallons it is. I know it has about 15 or 20 gallons left in it. We've got a couple cracks in it, and I've got it prepped and ready to go. So we get done with this. I'm going to try to wheel it on my other table over here and slide it off and see if we can join the space program. So let's go arc cam. See if we can get a decent arc shot here. I'm going to back up. Make sure you guys are still with me. I'm going to back up and go to that second crack. Had a little dip there at the end, so I'm going to clean this tungsten up real fast. All right. All right, you guys are still with me. Let's make another pass on this. All right, that's looking pretty good. We'll make a couple more passes in on the inside real quick, and then we'll be ready to grind back down later tonight. Make a couple passes inside. All right, you guys are still. Our can is working all right tonight. If I can keep it in frame. There we go. All right. Just looking at both sides. Looks like we got all of our crack. Now, one thing you can do, and what I'll probably do tomorrow, so I'll grind this down. I've got some dye penetrant. So I'll grind this back down, clean it up, spray it with my penetrant on both sides, clean it up, and then spray the developer on it. Just to double check that I got all that crack. You know, your normal like cast aluminum stuff, I wouldn't worry about that so much. But something like this, where I want to make sure I definitely got that crack filled, then I'll do a dye pin on this, and just to make sure I've got that crack completely sealed up. So let me set this off to the side now. We got it done. Oh. Get a drink of my aluminum water. So if you guys were joining me on the last show, we did some experiments with 7075 aluminum. How it's, you know, technically speaking, unweldable. So those that race team actually went ahead and machined that front hub, pressed the bushings in it, and it worked just fine for them. I recommended they not use it, but they went ahead and did some testing on it in prep for a race while they were making a new hub, and so far it survived. Long term, I don't think that's a good plan, but for now it's it's working just fine. But if you guys were with me for the entire show, I had mentioned that a company I had found was actually making a rod specifically for 75 or 7075 aluminum. And this is it. They sent me 2 pounds of it. I told them I'd buy it. It's like $65, $70 a pound. I told them I'd buy it. They went ahead and sent me 2 pounds of it to test. Full honesty, full disclosure, I'm going to practice with it a little bit. I've got a bunch of 70, 75 scrap. I'm going to practice with it a little bit, double check my results, and then we'll do probably here in another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll do another episode on 7075. A little more advanced video. The guys that are pretty confident in their skills, pretty advanced TIG-wise. So I'll do a comparison between this rod for 7075 and like 53, 56, and 40, 43. We'll do like a little bend test. They pretty much guarantee that using this filler rod, you can make structurally sound, repeatable welds on 7075. So if that's the case, then my mind's going to be blown. So yeah, just something to look forward to. This company, let me see if I can get them up. Let's MetaY. The company was founded by a current professor at UCLA. So I was in touch with him, going over, kind of what we do here. They thought it might be a good chance to promote their products. So like I said, I'm going to do some testing on it, make sure that I have the process down before we bring this on the live stream. But I did want to give these guys a shout out. That was pretty cool. And that's, $150, almost $200 worth of rod that they sent me. So it'll be cool to try that out. No, Nick, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. John, yeah, Hilti stuff. You can't beat it as far as I'm concerned. I've got a Hilti impact driver, that little mini Hilti drill, little 12-volt drill. I've got one of the 22-amp circular metal saws, and that circular metal saw is by far one of the most badass tools I've ever owned. Not supported by Hilti. Hilti gives me no money. I'm just a fan of high quality tools, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the highest quality power tool you can buy. All right, let me see. Can you explain why I'm melting my corners back on aluminum before being able to tack? Let me see if I've got some coupons cut up. I think what you're probably doing, especially on like a fillet weld, if you're trying to make like a fillet weld and you're burning the corners out, you might check your starting amps. Your starting amps might be too high. If you've got your starting amp set to, 150 or 200 amps, then you're hitting that with a ton of force. It's going to blow that corner out. So a better way to go would be to set a little bit lower starting amps. For 1/8-inch tungsten, I like doing a 60 amp start for 1/8-inch tungsten. That can help a little bit. Going down in tungsten size, if you're running 1/8-inch, going down to like a 3/32 tungsten, so you can get, maybe a 30 or 40 amp start. That can help out a lot. Also, laying your filler rod into the joint and giving it a quick tack over the filler rod. Kind of like if you've seen my pop can video, kind of the same way. When you put the cans together, you don't strike an arc on the cans. You actually lay your filler rod in that groove and you tack over the filler rod. So that gives you more material. So try that. Try putting some filler rod like right in the corner. Give it a quick tack like that and pull your filler rod out. Sputtering on arc initiation on AC. Make sure your pre-flow didn't get turned down. Not having the atmosphere set correctly there, Derek, that can cause that. Also, if you're on an Everlast and you've been running it for a while, double check your points gap. We actually have a video on the YouTube channel. If you can't find it on the YouTube channel, send me an email and I'll send you the link to the TikTok video that goes over it, like real quickly. It covers all the details, but it's a real quick video. It's like 2.5 minutes, and it shows how to adjust your points gap. So yeah, check out the points gap video. I do recommend, and I think we covered it in the video, but you want to clean your gap too. So it's not just adjusting them. You want to make sure you clean them. So taking like some 1,000 grit sandpaper, or even notebook paper works really well, or construction paper, folding a piece up and kind of running it between the gap there will clean off the tip of those points. Sometimes that's enough if they're still in spec. The recommended spec is 29 thousandths to 40 thousandths, with 32 thousandths to 35 thousandths gap being the recommended spec. So go 32 to 35 thousandths on your arc gap, and that should clear that up. If it doesn't, again, Derek, reach out to me, give me an email, shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, Instagram, whatever, and we'll get you squared away. All right, we got the wheel done. We're getting really close on time. I'm going to try to wheel this fuel tank over here, this diesel tank. It does have about 15 or 20 gallons of diesel left in it. The owner of the tank is the same guy that has the wheels. He said it's got a ton of water in it. His truck wouldn't even run on it, so it should be pretty safe. Diesel, you'll hear a lot of bad information about welding on diesel tanks. I've welded literally hundreds of diesel tanks that still had fuel in them, still reeked of fuel, were still on the truck. Diesel is extremely safe to weld on the tank. I'm not going to say it's always safe. There's obviously, one in a millions, but I have never heard of someone having an issue, or I myself have had an issue welding up a diesel tank while it still has fuel in it. With that said, if it was like a regular gas tank, or like a racing fuel cell that has alcohol and methanol in it, hell no. Generally, I won't even touch them. If someone paid me the right price, I would take it to the car wash and probably spend 10 or 15 bucks on the car wash, just letting water run through that thing. And then even then, I'd be a little sketched. But yeah, diesel's super safe. That's a good one, Derek. So give me a second, guys. I'm going to try to wheel this tank over. I guess maybe if you guys want to watch me struggle. I don't know why this camera won't. Camera's not wanting to focus for some reason. Let's see if I got it locked in like autofocus. I know this is super entertaining, guys. All right, well, for some reason it's not to focus. But yeah, if you do have a fuel cell with waste gas in it, something like that, fill it up with water below where you're working on it. That works pretty good too. Come on. Yeah. I'll get that later. All right, let me rearrange just a second. I got a bunch of stuff that's going to get knocked off. I wish Bob was still here to help me move this thing. I don't know. He's Bob, if you're watching, Bob's retired, so I don't know how much heavy lifting he wants to do. All right. So I got diesel dripping out of this filler here, of no concern of mine. Let me get a rag, we'll acetone it down just a little bit. All right, we'll give it a little wipe down with acetone. I've already prepped it with Scotch-Brite or flap disc and then Scotch-Brite. This thing was aluminum MIG welded. From the factory. Oh. So you can see here, I got a little crack going. It was actually more of like this side wasn't the crack. This side just had like a little pinhole that kind of opened up. So yeah, here we go. So it's already been ground down. It's already been prepped, just for, time's sake. So I hit it with a flat disc and then took some Scotch-Brite on a roll lock, buffed it back down, made sure it was pretty smooth. So let's see if we can join the space program. Oh, actually forgot. I'm going to grind my tungsten real quick. Sorry, guys. And I dropped all my good tungsten putting this tank up here, so. There we go. Richard, yeah. Get it to balloon up a little bit, get you a couple extra gallons out of it. So I'm still running the same settings before. I haven't touched the machine. Running 301 amps, running 91 hertz, 35% balance. Let's get you on the right cam. You guys get a first-person view of shuttle launch. All right, so if you guys kind of missed that, obviously it's hard for me to see it on the live stream. Tank is vented. This is loose. I've got the fill cap loose, so it is vented, just so it doesn't build up any pressure. If you guys couldn't see that on the live stream on the art cam, when I got to the hole, they kind of wanted to spit out at me. So what I did is I stepped to the top of it, gave it some clean filler, and then rolled back down to the bottom side, gave it some filler, filled right in. I am going to run another pass above and below that spot just to make sure. Make sure you guys are not locked up. Cool. One more pass right down the center. and it finally locked up. All right, well, that went pretty quick. I already had that one prepped. That took, I'm going to spin it around. The other side's a little bit worse. Probably a good 7 or 8 inch run. Oh. Generally, I try to get out of here. Didn't have a show last week. We'll go ahead and run a little bit long. We got quite a few people with us, so might as well make the most of it. You guys are going to be here. Oh. All right. Get where I'm at. So there we go. You can see we got a pretty good run here. Now, my buddy, he did try to weld this himself. He actually went through the same Votech center I did. So 20 years ago, he learned how to weld. Hasn't really kept up on TIG too much, so he tried to give it a shot. Didn't really work out for him, so he called me, asked me to see if I could hit it. So let's hit it. We got one side down. Grab a new piece of filler rod. I actually ground this side down quite a bit, just because he had already tried to weld on it, and it was pretty dirty. So I wanted to go ahead and get as much of that weld out of there as possible. There's actually probably a good 2 inches of this. I can see the seam from where they welded the plates together. So let's get started. So what I'm looking for, and I can kind of see it. Oh, let me get you guys in focus. There we go. I'm trying to keyhole this just a little bit. Like I said, I could see where the original seam was, the original fit up. Oh, there we go. So it tried to spit back on me just a little bit. I wanted to go ahead and stop because it was pretty intense. So give it a second, I'll reset. Wanted to make sure you guys were with me on this one. So this is where the hole was. I'm going to go above it. Start getting some clean filler in there. Still pretty dirty. Just motor right on through it. Give it a beam, put some rod in, move on. Oh, Richard, I appreciate that, man. I really do, dude. That means a lot. I know sometimes, like earlier, grinding that wheel out, it's kind of hard to get a camera on that. It can get boring. So to have so many people stay with me through that, really appreciate it, guys. It's a live show, It's a live show. What can I say? I got another little spot. This spot wasn't leaking yet, but I saw a pretty good pinhole on it, so I wanted to go ahead and hit it for him. So I ground it down. It's a good thing I did because it's already wanting to, I barely touched it with a grinder, and that hole opened right up, so it probably wasn't far from leaking on him. I'll give this a little reinforcement right there in the corner. Just making sure you guys are still with me. And again. All right, another long pass right here where that original crack was. Going just below my first pass. run it back into my first bead. You guys stay with me? Perfect. All right, last pass and this tank is done. Running right along the top of my first run. Again, just to tie it in. And I think I am going to run one right down the center here just to be extra safe. Well, there we go. Diesel tank, full of diesel. I'm not in outer space. I'm still alive on my skin. Don't have all my hair, but hey, we got as much as we started with, so that's good. All right, guys. Yeah, nice little show. Again, if you guys go back and watch, if you got here late, as was mentioned before, I don't personally recommend that anybody jumps on doing aluminum wheel repair. I'm extremely confident in my abilities. I've done it quite a bit with, so far, 100% success rate, even in some high intensity race applications, namely sprint cars. So I feel very confident in my abilities. I've got a process that I know that works. I know what to look for. But if you're not, the crack repair on that wheel, the same process would apply for doing this fuel tank. If you had a crack along a seam, drill it out, gouge it, same exact process. So I want you guys to think more about the process and less about what the actual item was. And again, I am going to grind that down and I'll die pin it tomorrow just to double check. So again, then we went through the 7075 testing fill rod that Metali sent me. Looking forward to testing that, and we might find that 7075 is available to be structurally welded with great success. So yeah, diesel tank repair. I see a lot of people on welding forums on Facebook, especially, asking about diesel tank repair, and people are going, oh, if you want to die, if you want to blow yourself up, make sure you have a life insurance policy, blah blah blah. It's bullshit. I mean, this thing's got 15-20 gallons of diesel in it, had open holes in the side of the tank that I welded up. I'm still here. So a lot of bad information out there. So just so quickie, showing everybody that welding a diesel tank, super safe, super easy. As long as you clean it, material's good, it welds just like anything else. So, long show. What are we at? A little over an hour and 6 minutes. So, appreciate it, everybody. We'll be back next week, Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Let me grab my new toy real quick. Here we go. Oh. So if you guys missed if anybody's here that missed the first part of the show, last weekend, part of the reason I skipped last weekend's show was obviously it was a holiday. I didn't really feel like working Monday when everybody else was off, but I had Bob Moffett come up. We ran through 2 new MIG machines that Everlast is releasing. One of my requests was to have a spool gun on hand to test the spool gun function of both machines. So Everlast sent me a Parker spool gun. This is a DSP 360A. If you haven't used one of these, this is badass. I've used a lot of spool guns, and even your bigger names, your red and blue guns. For $600, this thing is more than on par with those guns. This is a badass spool gun, and I'm really, really pleased with it. So I know I've had a couple questions about guys asking about spool guns. So now we got a spool gun. We did the straight aluminum MIG video 6-7 weeks ago, but we'll plug in this this Parker spool gun. I think it'll go on my 253 DPI, and I think it'll fit my MTS 225. So either way, we'll throw it on one of the machines, and we'll run some spool gun action. And with that, I should be able to clip the arc cam right onto it so we can get up real nice and close. But we'll run through how to set this thing, how to set it up. I'll pull it all back apart, spool it up for you guys live. I'll show you how easy it is. It takes 2 minutes to spool this thing up. So anyways, if that's it, have a good night, guys. I'll see you next week. Stay safe. Don't be an asshole.